been lied to, subtly, repeatedly, systematically. Since you were a child, you were trained to believe that some emotions are unacceptable. You were praised for being calm, scolded for being angry, encouraged to look on the bright side, but shamed when you cried. You learned, consciously or not, that strength means hiding your pain, smiling through the anxiety, pretending you're fine even when you're falling apart inside. But let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest. How much of your energy do you waste trying not to feel what you feel? How many moments of joy have you sacrificed in the name of appearing strong? How many times have you told yourself, I shouldn't feel this way? As if your own emotions were a personal failure. Here's the harsh truth. You're fighting a war against yourself, and it's a war you will never win. Because emotions, especially the difficult ones, aren't the enemy. They're messengers. Suppressing them doesn't make you stronger. It makes you a prisoner of your own mind. The more you push them down, the louder they become. You know this, that rage that erupts out of nowhere. The anxiety that won't shut up at 3 a.m. The sadness that returns like a shadow every time you slow down. You're not broken, you're exhausted. Because you've been spending your life trying to delete half of your humanity. And the saddest part, you've been calling this coping. You've confused suppression with self-control. But what if I told you that everything changes when you stop fighting your emotions? That the real path to inner strength has nothing to do with pretending to be unshakable, and everything to do with learning how to be real. Psychologist Susan David, from Harvard Medical School, spent her life studying what she calls emotional agility. Her work dismantles the toxic myth that happiness is a permanent state and reveals something far more liberating. The people who live most meaningfully are not the ones who avoid suffering. They're the ones who are willing to face it, feel it, listen to it, and still choose their actions based on who they want to be. Because here's the paradox. When you stop running from your emotions, they lose their power over you. When you stop judging your inner world, you finally start to understand it. And when you stop trying to be the perfectly balanced human, you become something much more powerful, a conscious one. So in this video, I'm not here to teach you how to feel better. I'm here to teach you how to feel everything without being consumed by it. No more fake calm, no more pretending you're okay, no more war. This is the beginning of emotional freedom. You've been told that control is the ultimate goal. Control your thoughts, control your reactions, control your feelings. As if the mind were a machine, and all you needed was the right set of commands to silence the chaos inside. But let's be honest. How's that working out for you? How many times have you told yourself, I just need to stay calm, only to feel the pressure build until it explodes? How often have you forced a smile while your insides burned with anxiety, frustration, or grief? How many moments have you numbed yourself with distractions, scrolling, binging, avoiding, just to escape the raw intensity of what you were feeling? Here's what no one tells you. The more you try to control your emotions, the more they control you. Why? Because suppression is not resolution. Avoidance is not mastery. And emotions, they don't disappear just because you decide they're inconvenient. Susan David calls this the tyranny of positivity, a cultural epidemic where we're taught that only positive vibes are acceptable and that anything less than happy, calm, and grateful must be a flaw to fix. You've seen it. The co-worker who says, "Don't be negative, just smile." The social media influencers preaching relentless optimism while hiding their breakdowns behind curated photos. The inner critic that whispers, "You should be grateful. Others have it worse. Stop being so dramatic." It's not just toxic, it's dehumanizing. Because being human means feeling everything: joy and sorrow, love and anger, hope and despair. When you amputate one side of the emotional spectrum, you don't become whole, you become hollow. And here's the psychological cost of this illusion: rebound effect. Research shows that the more you try not to feel a certain emotion, the more it rebounds, intensifies, and hijacks your behavior later. You don't delete the emotion, you delay the explosion. Emotional avoidance shrinks your life. When you spend your days avoiding triggers, conversations, risks, relationships, you begin to live inside an emotional bunker. You're not safe. You're stuck. Mental exhaustion. The internal war of fighting your own feelings consumes your energy, your attention, your clarity. It's like running an emotional antivirus software 24/7. No wonder you're tired. You weren't meant to be emotionally flawless. You were meant to be emotionally agile. Think about it. Anger isn't just rage. It's often a signal that your boundaries are being violated. Sadness isn't weakness. It's your psyche processing loss. Anxiety? It might be telling you that something truly matters to you. When you stop labeling emotions as good or bad, you start to hear them for what they are. Data. That's the shift. From control to communication. From repression to relationship. From resisting emotions to relating to them. But I get it. Letting go of control sounds terrifying. You've spent years, maybe decades, believing that if you don't manage your emotions, they'll destroy you. But what if the opposite is true? What if your fear of feeling is the very thing keeping you trapped? In the next part, we'll dismantle that fear completely. Because emotions aren't your enemy. They're your allies. You just forgot how to listen. And once you learn how, everything changes. Let's go deeper. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Here's the truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Emotions are not problems. They are processes. They are not evidence that something is wrong with you. They are signals, urgent, intelligent, often uncomfortable, but never meaningless. But we've been trained to treat them like enemies. You feel anger? Calm down. You feel sadness? Snap out of it. You feel anxious? Don't overthink. You feel jealous, insecure, ashamed? Just be grateful. Be positive. What you're really being told is, silence yourself. Mute your internal world. Do not disturb the people around you with your inconvenient truth. But here's the paradox. The more you ignore your emotions, the louder they become. They don't vanish. They metastasize. Repressed anger becomes bitterness. Unprocessed grief becomes depression. Ignored anxiety becomes panic. Denied envy becomes resentment masked as judgment. So let me ask you, what if the feelings you're avoiding aren't obstacles, but instructions? Susan David explains this with surgical clarity. Emotions are data, not directives. They're not commands you must obey, but they are signals you must decode. Think of them as internal GPS alerts, recalibrating your path toward a more authentic life. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Sadness says, you lost something important. Anxiety says, something uncertain matters deeply to you. Envy says, there's something you desire. Pay attention. Guilt says, you may have acted against your values. Realign. Every emotion, yes, every single one, carries a message. The question is not, how do I get rid of this feeling? The real question is, what is this emotion trying to tell me? When you approach your inner life with this level of honesty, everything begins to shift. You stop treating yourself like a machine that needs fixing and start relating to yourself like a human being that needs listening. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about indulging every emotion, nor is it about letting feelings dictate your actions. It's about developing emotional literacy, the skill of identifying, labeling, and understanding your emotions without being hijacked by them. Because clarity creates distance, and distance gives you choice, and choice is the foundation of freedom. But before you can choose your response, you have to show up for what's real. And most people don't even know what they're really feeling. They say, I feel bad, or I'm just off, or I'm fine when they're anything but. This is where emotional agility begins, with the courage to face the raw data of your inner world, without shame, without judgment, without the desperate urge to fix it. In the next part, we'll explore the practical, science-backed framework Susan David developed to help you do exactly that. A 4-step process to move from emotional chaos to clarity and action. It starts with one radical act: showing up. Are you ready to face what you feel? If your emotions are messengers, then you need to learn how to listen without being overrun. That's the essence of emotional agility, a radically different way of engaging with your inner world that Susan David developed through decades of psychological research. This is not about becoming immune to pain. It's about developing the skill to feel deeply without being driven blindly. Because here's the real trap. Most people oscillate between two extremes. They either suppress what they feel, bury it, deny it, pretend it isn't there, or they let the emotion take the wheel, rage texting, crying in silence, quitting jobs or relationships in moments of despair. Emotional agility offers a third path, not repression, not impulsivity, but conscious choice. It's a 4-step process, simple in structure, profound in impact. Let's walk through it. Step 1, showing up. This means turning toward your emotions, not away. It means facing discomfort instead of numbing it. Most people fear that acknowledging difficult emotions will give them more power. But the opposite is true. Studies show that simply labeling an emotion, I feel frustrated, instead of I'm fine, can reduce its intensity by up to 50%. But here's the catch. You need to label with precision, not bad or off or ugh, but I feel disappointed, I feel resentful, I feel insignificant. The more precise your language, the more clarity you gain. And clarity is power. Step 2, stepping out. This is where you create space between you and what you feel. You are not your emotion. You are the observer of your emotion. You are not angry. You are having the experience of anger. This subtle linguistic shift, I am versus I notice, creates massive psychological distance. It's called diffusion. Instead of being entangled in the emotion, you hold it in your hands and examine it, like a wave passing through you, not a storm you are trapped inside. Remember what Viktor Frankl once said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Step 3, walking your why. Now that you're not drowning in emotion, you can reconnect with what truly matters. This is the heart of emotional agility, using values, not moods, as your compass. Ask yourself, what do I care about in this moment? Who do I want to be in the presence of this emotion? Example, you feel deep anxiety before a presentation. Your emotion says, run, but your value is courage, growth, contribution. So you feel the fear and still step up to speak. That is power. Living by values doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. It means honoring them, but refusing to be ruled by them. Step 4, moving on. This is not about giant dramatic changes. It's about small, deliberate shifts in your actions that realign you with your values. Susan David calls this the tiny tweaks principle. Because real transformation isn't built on massive overnight change. It's built on consistent, intentional steps taken with self-awareness. You don't need to become a new person tomorrow. You just need to stop betraying yourself today. Emotional agility isn't a one-time fix. It's a lifelong practice. It's how you stop reacting from pain and start responding from purpose. It's how you move from being hooked by your emotions to being guided by your values. But let's be honest, just hearing about a framework isn't enough. Knowing isn't doing. So in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to practice emotional agility in real life. We're talking concrete tools, step by step, zero fluff. Because you don't just need theory, you need transformation. Let's make it real. Let's stop pretending that avoiding your emotions is harmless. It's not. In fact, it may be the single greatest reason you feel stuck, exhausted, disconnected, or like your life is shrinking around you. Every time you push away a difficult emotion, whether it's fear, sadness, guilt, or frustration, you're not solving a problem. You're building a wall, and brick by brick, that wall becomes a prison. Emotional avoidance doesn't just limit what you feel, it limits what you live. This is the truth most people never see because the damage is subtle until it's not. Let's break it down. First, emotional suppression doesn't work. You might think you've outsmarted your anxiety by distracting yourself with work. You might believe you've buried your anger by smiling through gritted teeth. But research shows the opposite. Suppression amplifies the emotion. It's called the rebound effect. Try not to think of a white bear and your brain fixates on it. Try not to feel something and your nervous system becomes hypervigilant, waiting for the next surge. Eventually, it erupts. Not when you choose, not when it's safe, but when it spills over. That's why the calmest person in the room sometimes explodes over something trivial. They've been bottling for years. Second, avoiding emotions shrinks your life. If you avoid rejection, you stop dating. If you avoid conflict, you stop speaking your truth. If you avoid anxiety, you stop taking risks. If you avoid grief, you stop loving deeply. Slowly, your world contracts, not because the world is smaller, but because your tolerance for emotional discomfort has vanished. You start living inside a smaller and smaller zone of safety, what psychologists call the emotional comfort zone. It feels safer, yes, but it also feels emptier, less joy, less connection, less meaning. What you avoid emotionally, you avoid experientially. Third, emotional avoidance wastes your most precious resource, energy. Do you ever feel like you're always tired, even when you're not doing that much? That's not laziness. That's emotional fatigue. When you're constantly scanning your inner world to make sure you're not feeling the wrong thing, you burn out your cognitive resources. It's like having 100 tabs open in your mental browser. You can't focus, you can't create, you can't breathe. And the irony? That same energy you waste on avoidance is the energy you need to live a meaningful life. You think you're protecting yourself from pain, but in reality, you're sacrificing depth, intimacy, and authenticity on the altar of emotional control. Here's the bottom line. You cannot selectively numb emotions. When you suppress pain, you also dull joy. When you mute grief, you flatten love. When you avoid fear, you deaden excitement. You end up living half a life, half alive. And you wonder why nothing feels real anymore. But there's another way. Instead of avoiding emotions, what if you could learn to ride them? What if you could let the wave rise, crest, and pass without being dragged under? That's what we'll explore next. Concrete, powerful daily practices that will teach you how to stop fearing your emotions and start using them. Let's build your emotional resilience, step by step. If what you're hearing resonates with you, you'll find real value in my ebooks. Beyond the Shadow breaks down Jung's core ideas, while Dialogues with the Unconscious gives you a 30-day path to apply them in your life. Both are linked in the pinned comment. Understanding emotional agility is one thing, living it is another. You can't think your way into transformation. You have to practice, daily, deliberately, especially when it's uncomfortable. Here are 10 concrete practices that will shift the way you relate to your emotions and to yourself. These aren't tricks. These are tools used by people who refuse to live on autopilot. People like you. Practice 1. Name it precisely. Stop saying, "I feel bad" or "I'm off." That tells you nothing. Is it disappointment, guilt, envy, shame, resentment? The more accurate your emotional vocabulary, the more power you have. Naming an emotion with granularity doesn't just clarify your experience, it reduces its grip on you. Precision breaks the fog. Practice 2. Diffuse your identity. You are not your emotions. Change "I am anxious" to "I'm noticing thoughts and feelings of anxiety." Change "I'm a jealous person" to "I'm experiencing jealousy right now." This tiny shift creates psychological distance. It's the space where awareness begins. Practice 3. Normalize without judgment. Don't slap moral labels on your emotions. Feeling anger doesn't make you a bad person. Feeling envy doesn't mean you're shallow. Try this instead. It makes sense that I'm feeling this. This is a human response to a human moment. That one sentence can disarm years of self-rejection. Practice 4. Ask the golden question. What is this emotion trying to tell me? Anger might reveal a violated boundary. Sadness might be pointing to something you've lost and haven't honored. Anxiety might be whispering that something important is uncertain. Emotions are not noise, they're intelligence. Practice 5. Identify your core values. List them, define them, refine them. Is it integrity, growth, connection, courage, contribution? Then, in the heat of emotion, ask, what action aligns with this value? Use your values as your compass, not your moods. Practice 6. Act from value, not impulse. David's formula is powerful. I feel X and I will do Y. I feel anxious and I will speak anyway. I feel angry and I will respond with clarity, not revenge. You're not betraying your emotions, you're leading them. Practice 7. Surf the emotion. Emotions rise, peak, and fall if you let them. Most emotions last 90 seconds to 20 minutes if you don't resist, ruminate, or react. Locate the feeling in your body. Breathe into it. Don't fight it. Ride the wave. It always passes. Don't drown. Surf. Practice 8. Journal with brutal honesty. No filters, no edits. Just write. What did I feel today? What triggered it? What did I learn? Did I act on values or on autopilot? Writing reveals patterns, and patterns reveal truth. Practice 9. Build a regulation menu. Have go-to strategies when emotions spike. For anger, sprint, hit the gym, scream into a pillow, write an unsent letter. For anxiety, grounding, 5 to 4, 3, 2, 1, breathwork, nature walks. For sadness, cry, listen to music, talk to someone who sees you. You're not weak for needing tools. You're wise for using them. Practice 10. Self-compassion in the storm. When pain hits, speak to yourself like someone you love. This is a hard moment. I'm feeling insert emotion. I am not alone. Let me be kind to myself. Put your hand on your heart if you need to. Your nervous system listens. These practices aren't positive thinking. They're psychological reorientation. They teach you how to stand with your emotions instead of against them. And as you keep showing up again and again, you build resilience. You become more honest, more grounded, more real. You stop outsourcing your peace to external circumstances because now you've trained your system to face the full range of human experience without shutting down. But there's one final piece. Practices alone are not enough if you're still fighting the fundamental truth. That being human means being emotionally complex, messy, raw, alive. The real transformation begins when you stop seeing that complexity as something to fix and start seeing it as the very source of your freedom. There comes a moment, if you're honest, when you realize the real battle wasn't against anxiety or sadness or anger, it was against yourself, against your own humanity, against the parts of you that didn't fit the version of strong you were sold. You've been trying to be emotionally perfect, calm, grateful, positive, all the time, but perfection is a prison. And here's the truth, no one tells you. You don't need to fix your emotions, you need to feel them, fully, deeply, and without shame. Because emotions are not flaws in the system. They are the system. You are not meant to be a robot. You are not meant to be numb. You are meant to feel it all and still choose who you want to become. This is what Susan David calls the third path, not suppression, not surrender, but integration. It means you can hold space for pain without letting it define you. It means you can let anger speak without letting it dictate. It means you can sit in grief and still act with love. It means you stop wasting your life energy in a civil war with your own heart. Let this sink in. Your emotions are not here to destroy you. They are not here to humiliate you. They are not weakness. They are awareness. And when you finally stop shooting the messenger and start listening to the message, you unlock a new level of clarity, courage, and self-respect. That's when everything begins to change. You stop reacting. You start responding. You stop performing who you think you should be, and you begin becoming who you truly are, a human being in process, in pain, in growth, in truth. This is emotional maturity, not pretending to have it all together, but having the strength to face what's real and act from your values anyway. And this isn't just about feeling better, it's about living better, living wide awake, living without apology, living in alignment with what actually matters to you. So if this spoke to you, don't let it fade. Drop a comment below and tell me, what emotion have you been avoiding? And what is it trying to tell you? Be honest. That's where transformation begins. And if you're serious about this journey, don't stop here. The next video is waiting for you. And it's important. Keep watching, because you're not done growing yet.